Hi everyone, welcome to a model showcase video, and this week what we're looking at is some of my models that I had to prepare for a Horus Heresy tournament, narrative campaign kind of event I went to yesterday. So what I have here is a Demios pattern support predator. I have just a normal Demios predator battle tank, a Land Raider Proteus carrier, a Leviathan Dreadnought and Chapter Master Ralderon. So last week I spent some time and I tried to magnetise the turret options on all the guns, so it's literally just a little piece of green stuff and small magnets. Now unfortunately with some of them, in my lack of attention I suppose, I managed to stick 2 magnets into this one, and when I tried to pull it off then the green stuff kind of set and kind of left a lump. So what we're kind of looking at is this, which is fine. I can fix it now, but I done this last weekend in preparation for painting these models this week, so I was a bit tight on time, didn't really have time to be playing around with magnets and stuff like that, so once it stuck, that was good enough. So I had to submit the list by Sunday last week, so I was trying to make sure that whatever I was bringing I had ready to paint, and I didn't really want to glue the turrets on because there's no point, because there's like 9 or 10 different options you can take. So I submitted the list and then I had to get everything painted. So the Demios support predator has a Volkite Saker and 2 Volkite Culverin sponson weapons, a Havoc launcher, hunter killer missile, smoke launchers and a searchlight, which I didn't model onto it. The Land Raider Proteus has smoke launchers on here, twin linked las cannon in the front, 2 Gravis las cannons on the side, and it has a dozer blade. Now there's 3 different variations you can build of this predator, Proteus Land Raider. I think this one's cool because you don't really see Land Raiders too often with dozer blades, and I really wanted to go for that, so that's what I done. I have a couple of different options to these guys. I use this guy kind of like a commander of the tank, so the gun isn't actually paid for on the model that was in the list. He's just kind of sitting there. For the Leviathan Dreadnought, absolutely blown away by the effectiveness of these assault cannons over the weekend, because they're 6+ rending. Absolutely amazing. They helped me take down a Warhound. Pretty sure it was the Warhound. They've done really good work this weekend. So Gravflux Bombard assault cannons didn't actually end up with the points for the Phosphex discharge on this one, because I ran 2 Leviathans and I put it on the other one with all the guns. I was looking at this the other day and I was painting it, I was like, that's definitely a melta-gun. When I looked at the list, yeah, if you take the Siege Claw you get a melta-gun in it, which I think is absolutely deadly. So that's him. Chapter Master Ralderon, just the base model. I didn't actually do the display base because I was a little tight on time, so I'll have to go back in and do that after, but yeah, he just slots in like so. So I actually left myself pretty tight on time. He was left till Friday and the event was Saturday that I started painting this guy. Then what we have is a Demios Predator battle tank. It's got the Predator cannon, 2 sponson heavy bolters, a Havoc launcher and a hunter killer missile, smoke launchers and searchlights. Well, look, you can say that the searchlights are the little guns here. Little guns, the lights in here, which I never actually painted. I'm only realising that now. Cool. So I'm going to move the stuff out of the way and take a closer look on it and talk through how I painted it. Okay, so starting with the Land Raider Proteus, I started out with the same way I painted everything else of this army, with black prime, or if I've no black primer I use a grey prime. Now I got the army painter matte black, which is basically the same as the black paint that I use out of the dropper bottles, so that was pretty handy. Now it was a bit of a rush job, so I didn't spend as much time airbrushing this one as I did the other ones. Then I used Vallejo Scarlet Red, don't have it to hand, and then Mephiston Red, and then the edge highlights are just Evil Sun Scarlet. So there's Zephon. Here's a Rhino I painted for the first event, so you can kind of see the Evil Sun Scarlet really sticks out on it, and there's kind of a slight gradient on it. Now the muck and stuff on this is just airbrushed on. I left it pretty tight the last time to try and get the models painted as well, so yeah, it was good fun trying to get through these. So all in it took me I'll get the timer up in a minute, but in around 19.5 hours to paint the 3 tanks, the Dreadnought and Raldoron. So matte black on this with a couple of Dark Reaper edge highlights. This is Army Painter Plate Mail Silver, just with a null and oil, or a Army Painter Dark Tone wash. Same with the tracks. So there isn't actually too much in this. Thankfully I was able to get through it quick enough. I did paint the lenses blue on this one, and the other tanks they're green. So that was Vallejo Imperial Blue mixed with a bit of white, mixed with a bit of white, mixed with a bit of white, and that was it. This guy wasn't even fully finished. I just running out of time, and I was getting too tight for time with having Raldoron left to the last minute. For the tank tracks, done similar to what I done with the last ones. I airbrushed the brown on. Okay, so I'll pop this off just so you can see. I don't magnetize these because they have the peg system, so you can just peg them on and twist them. Had nowhere really to put the hunter killer up here without being too cluttered. So I'll show you my Rhino. Rhino has the hunter killer here, so when I was building this I didn't really know where to put it. I thought I had one on the Spartan, it appears not. Okay, never mind that. So I didn't really know where to put it, so I said screw it, I'll stick it down here and it can just shoot under the front armour of a tank maybe and blow it up, was kind of the thoughts behind that. Sorry. So we airbrushing, literally took the airbrush out, Mornfine Brown, sprayed it around, threw in a bit of Avalanche Sunset, sprayed that around, and I've done the same on the tracks. So I just airbrushed the tracks as close as I could with the airbrush, and then dry brush the tracks silver afterwards. So same on this side then, just to make it look like it was kind of churning up some muck and dirt and stuff like that. And you can see it here on the Spartan as well. Had a little bit more time when I was doing the Spartan, so it even got some edge highlights on the assault ramp. So we'll have a look at the Dreadnought next. Okay, so here is my Blood Angel specific Leviathan Dreadnought. I bought them last April, so April 2022 in Forge World. This was prior to the Horus Heresy or plastic Leviathans even being hinted at for me. So when I was buying it, I was like, do I buy a normal Leviathan, which is a chunky boy, or do I buy the Blood Angel specific one? I was like, I'm going to buy the Blood Angel specific one, he's pretty cool. But for weapons, I wasn't really sure what to get. I didn't know what was good, what was meta, what wasn't. I was like, you know what, I actually don't care, I'm just going to buy what looks cool. He's a Blood Angels guy, so he's going to like combat, get the claw. What else looks cool? And I was looking, I was like, right, okay, you have the Cyclonic Melta Lance, that's pretty cool. You have the Storm Cannon Ray, that's pretty cool. And then I seen this and I was like, you know what, Graflux Bombard, that is ace. Nice little green OSL on that, it'll look pretty cool. So that's what I went with. Now when I was building them, I had the intentions of magnetising the chest mounted like weapon option, I suppose. The Blood Angels get a specific type of assault cannon. It's the Elastris or Ilastrist assault cannon. So basically it's an assault cannon that gets hot on the roll of a 1. They call it malfunction, and if you get a 6 it's rending, so they're pretty good. It's only the Blood Angels and the Imperial Fists in Horus Heresy that have access to them. And when I built my first Leviathan, it actually ended up being the plastic one. I glued in the Volkite because I was like, oh my god, Volkite, like, it's such a cool looking gun. This guy didn't have the time for any messing around. I'd shaped up or cleaned off the assault cannons, had them shaped up ready to go in. I was like, right, I need to get this done. I want to airbrush it when I'm airbrushing the tanks. So I just went with the assault cannons. They did not fail me this weekend. They killed a lot of heretics, and I was pretty happy with it. Painting this guy, it was the same kind of red for the armour, but with him being the Leviathan Dreadnought and like a veteran, I kind of went with a bit of battle damage on him. Now I did debate whether or not to try and sink in like a highlight into the black. The black is just a matte black Army Painter dropper bottle, same as the primer I used. But I debated whether or not to try and like put in like a thin line of grey or a dark grey to make it look like it was indented. Didn't have time for that shenanigans. So the base was literally just PVA. There's actually a Sons of Horus icon in here from one of the tank kits. PVA, bit of stone, airbrush, quick little dry brush yellow over it. That was literally all I done with the base, just to get them done. It matches up with the rest of my army, so it done the job. Now I can go back in now that the event's over in my own time and add in like grass and flock and stuff like that. But For now, we're just looking at what I actually got done. So edge highlights again were done with Evil Sun Scarlet. When I was painting the angel wings, I painted them Mechanicus standard grey, it's a Citadel paint, and then just went in with a Vallejo Wolf Grey and just highlighted the individual lines out. I wrote Sangi here because I definitely wasn't going to be able to fit Sanguinius or Sanguinor or Sanguinary Guard or anything like that, so Sangi went in. The brown was Mornfine Brown, and then Ushabti Bone mixed into it, and then a little bit of white just to kind of make it look like cloth, so that was fine. I wanted to make it look like the assault cannons were starting to heat up from just constantly firing, so what I done was Imperial Blue from Vallejo, really watered down, put on a couple of glazes, went back in when I was painting Raldoron's sword hilt, or the handle, with I think it's Warlord Purple or something from Vallejo, glazed that on. I had intentions of going in with a bit of red as well, but that kind of fell off. So painting the claw then was all airbrush. Imperial Blue, I think it's Aldorf Guard Blue or Ultramarine Blue, and then Temple Guard Blue with a little bit of white. So I painted the claw up with that, but I also done the power cables to make it look like it's powering up the claw. The bronze for the exhaust stems, same on the tanks, didn't mention it with the Land Raider, is Army Painter Weapon Bronze with just a strong tone wash on top of it. Silver is Plate Mail Silver. The gold is Liberator Gold or Retributor Armor from Citadel, whatever the base coat is. It's got a white lid. I enjoy using that, it gives good coverage, and that was just hit with a strong tone wash followed by some highlights of the same colour. Now I didn't get as much highlights as I would have liked. I wanted to get in with some silver and stuff like that because my intentions were to enter this kind of painting competition, but I ended up not getting to it in time. Same down here at the wing, same kind of grey and then white just drawn out like real thinly. What I had to keep doing was I had to keep getting the brush and twisting it in the nook of this wrinkle here to kind of shape it down and then paint in the thin lines. The Blood Angels drops were Scarlet Red from Vallejo, same as the base colour, Mephiston Red, Evil Sun Scarlet, and then just a dot of white. So, and then this here is the usual green glow effect that I do, which is Caliban green, Moot green is the highest one, and there's one in the middle I can't think of. Yeah, Waystone green I think it is. It's like a mid kind of tone green, but it got a bit washed out by the Moot green when I was airbrushing because I thinned it down too much. But I think it looks alright, so I was happy enough for him. And then same with the base, I just airbrushed on all the browns, and then because I had the texture on it I just hit it with a little bit of the yellow. So that's him. So next up we'll have a look at the Volkite Support Predator. Okay guys, so when we're looking at this, I'm just going to look at the two of them. So literally they're painted the same. So red is painted the same, edge highlights, all the same stuff. I painted the Havoc launchers with just a little bit of yellow to show the missiles. When I was painting the Volkites I used the airbrush, so it was Scarlet Red, Mephiston Red, Evil Sun Scarlet, and then Uriel Orange. Now I didn't clean out the airbrush between the steps, I just emptied out enough of it so there was a little bit in the bottom and continued mixing it up. So I just wanted it to look like this thing was emanating heat because it's going to start firing soon. Same with the sponsons then. Threw a little bit of the airbrush glow onto the cables, like there's power cables going in, or this is like a fuel tank that's feeding the heat ray. Not sure how Volkite works, but I just wanted it to look cool. And I like having glowing effects on my army stuff. It's kind of a unanimous theme that I've gone for with this army anyway. So look, the torsos are the body of the tank is pretty similar. If I really wanted it I could run this as a Razorback and just give a heavy bolter sponsons instead of putting the heavy bolter up here, but a little bit different to the Rhino. So where the Rhino has the door, the Predator has the sponson mount, and the front is just a little bit different as well. So obviously you want your armor 13 front on the Predator, Rhino's 11 all around, so they've aptly I think represented that with the extra front here on the Predator. Same for this guy then, everything else is painted exactly the same. The only difference was this was black and silver, so it was matte black with dark Reaper edge highlights. The silver was plate mail silver with a dark tone wash. Painted the lenses the same as the Land Raider with the blues. That's not stuck down in case I have the points to change the weapon out, but it's also rolled into the abyss, so we can switch them around if we really need to. And the heavy bolters then, same as painting the black. It's literally matte black from Army Painter, dark Reaper edge highlight. The gold was the same gold that I use in the Dreadnoughts, the GW Retributor armor, I think, just giving a quick wash then. And the silver was given the dark wash as well, and we have the blue lensing in there. The only thing I really dropped the ball on these, I think, was the lights on the front. I never painted them, and if I had time, I probably would have went in at looking at blackening these up here to make it look a little bit like the exhaust fumes have been pumping out of it. But yeah, other than that, we can stick the accelerator autocannon from the, I was going to say the Vindicator, the Sakaran onto it. It got a bit broke in my case, unfortunately. Looks cool. But the last model, it's probably the most important model that we have, is Chapter Master Ralderon. So we're going to have a look at him next. Okay guys, so Chapter Master Ralderon. Painted a little bit differently to everything else, considering he is a character model and he's like the first Chapter Master of the Blood Angels. So painted him with the airbrush the same as the tanks, and then didn't have enough, I suppose with the way I painted it, it's kind of like it's progressive in the sense that like the red at the front here might be dark and this is light, and then this is lighter and this is still kind of black. So I wanted a smoother transition and gradient through it, so I literally went from scratch. So you can see the black here, that was glazed all the way up and then hit with an edge highlight on all of his armour. Now look, with the, I wasn't really sure what I was going to do with the sword, so I did end up going with the blue OSL, same as I've done throughout the army. Okay, but it did cover some of the under armour stuff that I had done, so I was trying to paint underneath the sword like this to try and get the 9th Legion symbol on him there. Trying to glaze up the red on these little panels and then thinly paint the gold lines in, paint the gold studs, wash them, re-highlight them. There was a lot of work went into this. I tried to give him kind of like a 5 o'clock shadow on the side of his head as if he just had a haircut. Left him with his mohawk. The gold was based with Liberator or Retributor armor, sorry, washed with an Army Painter strong tone, re-highlighted. Took a lot of time painting this guy. Now when I say a lot of time, it was a lot of time, how's the best way of putting this, I was running out of time and I put as much time into him as I could. Like in the, if you look up the Forge picture, this is like a cloth he's holding with blood dripping off it, like he's cleaning his sword, but his sword is all black and blue, like it's more like a kind of non-metallic metal effect. I did not have time to be doing that, so what I'll do here is we'll pop open my Brush Rage app. Okay, see if we can see this. So Ralderon took 3 minutes 40, I wish it took 3 minutes, 3 hours 41 minutes 40 seconds, and the Blood Angels tanks took a total of 15 minutes 37 seconds plus the 35 on top of that. So it was, so adding it up, we have 18, 19, it's over 20 hours of painting logged last week. Just, I haven't logged anything today, just on getting 2 Predators, a Leviathan, Ralderon and a Land Raider ready for a tournament. So that is it for this one. I'll do a whole army video at some stage. I'll do another video next week going through some of the tactics that I used in the list and how I played the list the way I did. The only other thing I suppose I could comment on is I did actually paint the little ammo clip he has down here to make it look like, you know, silver and the bullets were gold, but I airbrushed the brown same as the tanks and then hit it with a little bit of grey when it was still wet and kind of glazed the grey into it. on his well, I suppose greave cloth down here, I did actually write angel with a really thin brush, but you can barely see it because of the airbrush, which is a bit rough. But I think he looks pretty cool. He led me force yesterday and he didn't do me any wrong, so I'm happy. Had a good day. I now have a serious amount of tanks painted, so if we have a look here, what we're looking at is 3 Predators, a Sikaran, a Rhino, a Land Raider, Proteus Carrier, a Land Raider Spartan. Not pictured is my Kratos. So yeah, I think I'm doing okay painted model wise for the Blood Angels, and that's a total of 5 models painted for this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So cool. Let me know what you think of the paint scheme down below. Stay tuned for more videos, and don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. Thanks all.